Alright, in this video I'm going to make a health system. Um, Generally what I do is make it once and then I reuse it and copy and paste it into other games or examples in class. So I usually have to go back and look at it exactly and kind of refresh my memory on how to make it, because I don't do it often. I just, like I said, I make it once and then I copy and paste it and use it over and over. What I've done here, my character, that's the hitbox on the character. I gave it a property of good, and if you look back at the things that we've done, you need to have a property name on your character and the enemies and anything that this guy or the character is going to interact with. The property on the box here is bad, and what's going to happen is, if you look, when my character interacts with this box, it's going to take off his health, and I'm just going to show you, I guess, better than explain it. He's going to hit the box and then bounce back. And if you look up in the upper left hand corner of the screen, you see my health bar shrinking. Boom, boom. So it takes 10 hits to kill this guy, and that's what it's going to be in this video, but you can easily change that. So what I'm going to have to do is reference back and forth between creating a health system for this tutorial and looking at this game that I've made, the health system here, so I can sort of refresh my mind on how to do this. Starting off then, I guess, you just create a new scene, name it health. You can name it whatever you want to, but just to keep it simple, I name it health. And I created a plane. First, actually, take that back. Before I created a plane, I created a camera. Okay, now I guess I'm just going to walk you through this. I'm going to close out of this game, and then I'm going to start a new game. But before I do that, I'll show you the animation that I've added to this character. So when he hits this box, or this box in my game is just an example for an enemy. It would act this way against any enemy. He moves backwards, so it bumps him back. Boom! It sets him back a little bit, so he's not constantly running into it. And how I made that is, when this player here collides with bad, I've added a tap, so he can't just sit there and keep racking up the hits and just die automatically. I click tap, so what has to happen is he has to continually tap it. He can't just lean on it and then have his health sucked out. And then I've added two things. I'll get into the message later, but when he interacts with the bad guy, it sends a message that takes off his health. And also what it does is, on his local y-axis, it bumps him backwards too. In my case, I've added my box backwards. His positive y-axis is going backwards. So when he hits this box on his y-axis, it's going to move him back too. If your arrow is pointing the other way, or if you're on the x-axis, just be cognizant of that and set that up correctly. Okay, so I'm going to close out of this, and then I'm going to open it back up. I'm going to have two projects going here. Okay, closing out. Now I'm going to open back. Like I said, I'm going to reference back and forth between these two things. So what I'm going to do right now is set up just a basic guy that can move, character that can move. I'm going to copy this, Shift-D, GX. This is going to be the enemy, and I'm just going to add some basic materials here to this guy right here. This character is going to be yellow. You know what? I don't want to deal with this copies. I'm just going to do this. Another box. Okay. And I'm going to give this person this character a red color. I'm going to make it shadeless so it just glows. Same with this. And then on the ground, I'll just add gray so it stands out. Okay. I'm going to reset this camera. Actually, I'm just going to delete it and delete the lighting as well. And I'm going to add a camera. So Shift S, let's send the cursor to the center which it already is at. Shift A, add a camera, and I'm going to make the camera orthographic after I switch into game mode. And I'm just going to move it so this bottom plane is sitting up here. Alright, now I'm going to view it, and I'm going to scale it with orthographic scale so I can see what's going on. This is the simple view I'm going to keep it at. Alright. This character is moving positive on the x-axis. Before I do this, I'm going to set these up both as the enemy is dynamic and this guy is going to be a character. Go into the logic editor here, and I'm just going to add a keyboard sensor that's going to move up, and a simple motion of 0.02, let's say, on the x-axis positive. 0.02, just for an example, so I have something going on here. And I'm going to give him a property of good. And I'll give this a property of bad. And that's about all that's going to happen with this character here, other than collision bounds. Alright, so what's going to happen now when this character collides with this character? I'm going to add a collision. The property when he collides with bad, it's going to send him backwards, or it backwards. On the x-axis, positive x is moving this way to the right, negative axis will be moving backwards or on the left. So what I'm going to do is add -2 here. Save it to the desktop. I'm just going to delete this. So I'm going to name it delete on the desktop. Wow. Okay, that works. Alright. Now what I'm going to do is send out the messages after I create a scene. So create a new scene up here. I'm going to name it health, new, health, and add a camera. Let's shift A, add a camera, make it orthographic. Scale it out here so it's laying on the ground. I'm going to go into camera view with 0 on the numpad, deselect the camera, shift A, I'm going to add a plane here. I'm going to scale it on the y-axis, and so it doesn't take up too much room, I'm going to scale it on the x-axis. And I'm going to move it now to the upper left-hand corner. You can move it wherever you would rather it be. And I'm going to add a material to it. And I'm going to make it shadeless, so now when I press play, it should pop up. Okay, that's exactly what I want it to be. And now this is where I'm going to be referencing back and forth between my last game, because honestly, I don't remember it completely. Alright, so I'm just going to go to the health scene here, and I'm going to click on and see what I added here. Alright, so the property, I'm going to do this side by side. Hopefully this is not too confusing. I'm going to add a property here, and I'm going to name it life. And I'm going to change this from a float to an integer, and it's going to start at 0. So right now that is all we need to change over here, and that is good. Now what we need to add over here is a message. So this is going to receive a message, this plane is going to receive a message, and the message it's going to receive is ouch. It can be whatever you want it to be. And now what I'm going to do over here is add a property. So a property of life is going to receive a value of 10 anytime this message is received. and it's also going to animate itself moving from right to left like my example did. So I'm just going to set that up right now. We haven't recorded anything, so there's nothing to do there. But right now, what I'm going to do is switch back to the regular scene, and I'm going to see exactly what I've set up on this guy. Okay, so when this guy collides with this bad guy, property bad, it sends a message of ouch. So here, what I'm going to do is switch back to the scene and this character here. So this character, when it collides with bad, is going to not only move backwards, but it's also going to send a message of ouch. So I'm going to add a message and hook it up. And the subject is going to be ouch. Alright, let's double check to see if I changed anything else. Nope, that's just it. It's text. Subject is ouch, and that is it. So we can go back to the health scene. And now we're going to animate this little guy up here. Alright, and we're going to animate this in a different way than we have animated in the past. So we're going to go to this little icon right here that's a triangle that is actually object data. It's data. Alright, so, sorry, I was thinking of something. Now I'm going to click here, and what we're going to do is open up shape keys. We're going to add a new shape key, and we're going to actually add two, and I'm going to name this right here shrunk. And then let's see, I believe that's all I need to do right now, and I'm going to take this to the dope sheet, make sure that my scrubber is all the way at 0. I don't need to go to the action editor, I'm just on the dope sheet. And I believe over this value right here, I'm just going to press I. Yep, my memory works. And now let's go back to the dope sheet over... Actually, I'm going to drag... Let's see if I can do it with off the top of my head. Alright, 100. I'm going to change the scrubber to 100. And I'm going to change the value... Is that what I do? To 100? Okay, I'm going to pause the video and figure this out. Alright. So, what we have to do here is I'm going to press Control Z. I actually missed a step before this turns yellow. So Control Z, Control Z. Now this is no longer yellow. And now what I forgot to do was actually change this, the scale of this. So basically, to recap, I've added this layer and renamed it shrunk. So I hit Control Z until this was no longer yellow. I'm going to go into edit mode. And I'm going to select this edge right here. Pardon me if you could hear me burp. And I'm going to move this all the way over so it's no longer here. Alright, now when I get out of edit mode, I should be able to change the value. Yes, I did it correctly. Yay. Alright, so now in the dope sheet, I'm going to press I while my mouse is over top of this value. And I'm going to change the scrubber to 100. And I'm going to change the value to 100. And it didn't add a keyframe. Now, because I didn't press A. Alright. I'm sorry, I. So over top of this value here, after you have moved the scrubber to 100, you change the value to 1, and then you press I to set the keyframes. And basically we're ready to go because we set everything else up. So what I'm going to do is go back to the Control S, by the way, and one thing I forgot to mention is once we go from the dope sheet to the action editor, you will see that you can't actually name this animation here. Those keyframes aren't here anymore. But you'll see what I mean when I go reference the animation. So what I'm going to do is change this back to the logic editor. And I'm going to reference the animation. You'll see it up here. It's key action. Key action. That's the key that we just made, the key action that we just made. And let's say it's just going to play. I'm going to double check this property from my last game here. So it's just going to continue. It's key action, property, life. So that's one thing I forgot to do. So underneath continue, I'm going to change it to a property, right? So this isn't play, this is actually property. Like I said, I'm rusty at this. I usually just copy this whole system out and put it into a different game and never redo it. So pardon me. But the property is life, and I believe that's all we need to change. Layer 0, blend in property. It's just life, and then the value is set up here of 10. So that should be good. What I have to do now, every time I do something, I press Control S. Every single time I make a change, I press Control S. So what I'm going to do now is go to the scene. I'm going to click on this camera, and I'm going to add an, let's see, scene, and an always. So this, on this camera, the health scene is always going to be camera overlaid. So add overlay scene here, and the scene that we're adding is health. Now let's see, hopefully this works so I can stop the video and it's very short. Alright, let's see, Control S, P, something is off. It worked once. Okay, I'm just going to go back and double check everything. Alright, let's double check everything here to make sure it's alright. Assign add, that's what I forgot to do. Forgot to change this to add. So hopefully this works now. So it was only assigning a value of 10, and then that was the end of it. So now every time it receives the message, it's going to add a value of 10. So going back to the scene, press play, and now I'm going to move forward, and as you can see, it works. So what I would do in the game is on this character, you can change the value of the message that's being sent. If you want him to take less hits or whatever, you can change the value. So he's receiving a value of 10, so it's animating that value of the health bar from 0 to 100 at increments of 10. So it's going to take him 10 hits to die. You can change it to 5, so it'll be 5 or whatever. Now what we're going to do is when this guy receives the message of life, let's see, the message of ouch, it's going to convert it into the property, what? I guess what we'll do in here is I'm going to get this guy to die. So when his health bar is Gonzo, he dies. So what I'm going to do is just add an empty. Like I said, I'm I apologize for being rusty at this. I'm going to add it in the air so it's easy to select. And I'm going to scale it quite large so it's easy to notice. Alright, it's going to be an integer, and we're going to call it die. So when this guy receives a message of ouch, it's going to change it to a property. No, I guess we have to do it up here. So please ignore what I'm doing. If you had to do that and redo it now, I apologize again. I'm pretty rusty at this. Like I said, I only do it once. All right, when he receives a message of ouch 10 times, okay, so this is where the message of ouch, it's going to be picked up here, and it's going to be converted into a property. So I kind of did that backwards. All right, so here we go. 1, add, it's going to be a value of 10. And then when this value equals 10, let's say 100, the scene will restart. Or you can send it to a game over screen. So let's see if this works. If it doesn't work, I'm just going to stop because this video is getting long, and then I will make another video after I knock the rust off of what I'm doing, and then it'll be much shorter than this. So Control S to save it, and here we go. Let's see if it worked. Yep. Alright, so what I also have to do to get the health bar to restart is go to the up here, and then also when this message is reached 10 times, you also have to restart this scene as well. So I'm going to give this one shot to see if this works. If I make a mistake, I'm going to start over like I said in another video, and I'm going to stop there because this video is getting pretty long. Alright, so this is a property of life, value of 10. So all I have to do is add a property here and call it life, and when this value gets 100, then this is going to scene, restart scene. Alright, so this should work. Control S to save. I'll go back to the scene. Control S again, just habitual, and press start and see if it works. Yep, it worked. Alright, not bad for an old fart.